Yo, 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 what's good, what's good, what's good? Forgot to move my mic. You are now watching Drew Boy Sports Show. Let me get this chapstick on. You are now watching Drew Boy Sports Show. I am your host, King Ralph, here kicking it. Solo Dolo show. Hope everybody's doing good today. Doing the pre-recorded shows, I picked up a shift to help out another store location for my job, so got to record a little earlier, but it'll be pre-recorded. And so let's jump straight into it, man. Before we get started, you know how we always do. Got to send a shout out to the sponsors. So if you're looking for a clean, no crash, jitterless energy drink, get on your phone, iPads, all that good stuff. You look up Dubby.com. There's an app as well, DUBBY.com. Dubby.com. Use promo code JUKE, JUK, for 20% off. We're going to get you right. And make sure while you're here, regardless, you're here from Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. Subscribe at Juke Network, JUK Network on YouTube, trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the month. Also, trying to get to 100 followers on Facebook as well. Juke Network, JUK Network on there. Once I get to 100 followers on there, I'll be able to go live straight from that page. You can follow me at KYNGRALPH on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, add an underscore for X or Twitter. And the NBA Finals is in live full effect. So Pacers get game one with a major comeback. Thunder was pretty much controlling the game the same way they did in game two. Pacers were able to make a comeback, take the lead, and that's all she wrote for game one. Thunder can come back, dominate game two. I believe the next game is Wednesday. Game three is tomorrow. Yeah. Wednesday night, 5:30. And this series is the first two games so far went exactly how I thought they would go, to be honest with you. Right now, it's Halliburton and how he's played. It's been a little bit too sporadic. In game one, he played lights out when it really mattered. In game two, came up short in a lot of instances. And so I think that in order for the Pacers, to be able to really have a real chance, they have to be able, between Siakam and Halliburton, have to be able to match what, regardless if it's J-Dub or Chet being number two, they have to be able to at least match the output of the top two players with Shea. Shea gonna give you 30 every night. And then it just depends on if J-Dub or Chet are hitting. If they both hitting, then at that point, the likes of a Miles Turner, the likes of a Neesmith, Nembhard, like these are players that would need to be able to step it up to be that legit number three piece that would give them a position, put them in a position to be able to win the series. In the end, like I said, I had it going 6 anyway, so I just think that the Thunder's depth is just going to be, after the three that I named, then you got Caruso, you got Wiggins, you got Hartenstein, you got Lou Dort. I just think that you got Wallace, you got just too many names and bodies to be able to throw out that can impact the game, regardless if it's from a defensive standpoint, playmaking, or putting the ball in the basket. I just think that the Thunder are just a better team all around. So I think the series is going about how I thought it would go. I think the defensive prowess of the Thunder is really giving Halliburton real issues right now. And so I still got it going 6, but so far it's going how I think it's going to go. I do think the Pacers, because they got game one, the way that they played relaxed in game two, Rick Carlisle is going to get in that ass. And they're going to end up winning game 3. And then I think from there, Thunder will run off. But game one was definitely entertaining. And so I was looking at this thing last week, and I seen that Dak was ranked 17, and then I just keep seeing like this graphic of players and where they rank from a pay standpoint versus where they rank from a player standpoint. So leads me to the question: how many QBs in the top 10 would you rank that are top 10 from a pay standpoint? Would you rank in the top 10? And so Dak at 1, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love are all tied at 2 technically, but that's 5 names. So I'm really only going to list 10 names. They're all getting paid 55 mil a year. Tua Tagovailoa is getting 53.1. That puts him at 6. Jared Goff is getting 53 at 7. Brock Purdy just got his new deal at 53 at 8. Justin Herbert getting 52.5 at 9. And Lamar Jackson is getting 52 mil a year. And so at this point, we start to rank, all right, where would you put these people? And so I think off rip, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, top 10 without saying. Then at that point, Patrick Mahomes, who is not in the top 10, I think he's getting about 50 mil. I'd put him in my top 10, so that's 4 spots. Then when you start to look at the people on the list, Trevor Lawrence, hell no. Tua, fuck no. Like Jared Goff, based off of recent success and things that he's done, I could see an argument for it. But Trevor Lawrence, Tua, and Jordan Love off, and Brock Purdy off rip, I'm taking them off the list to reevaluate what my list is. So obviously Mahomes at 1. For me, I got Lamar at 2, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Then at that point, I think that's when we start to have the Jalen Hurts conversation. Then at that point, I think Dak could be thrown in there. Definitely Matt Stafford is another one that should be thrown in there. And at that point, I'd listed off like 8 names to where just from a pay standpoint, I get it. I hate this whole thing because it is the one position in all of sports where a decent quarterback could get paid like a top 5 player, or top 5 in their sport. Like in no other position is a top 12 top 15 player getting paid top 10 or top 5 money. And so I just think that when we start to have these conversations and what we're looking at here is like, I hate the whole next man up, got to get paid idea, because Brock Purdy, talent wise, should not get over 40 mil. Like I would have gave him I probably would have gave him a Geno Smith deal, like a 37.5. But now you're getting that 53 mil, and you don't have the super friends like you used to. What you finna do with it? And that's where I think that he gonna show that he worth the money, or he gonna show that he's not worth it. So in the end, oh look, yeah, there we go. In the end, I think that this top 10 thing, I hate it. So I would probably go of all the ones that are on this list: Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Dak. I could see an argument for Justin Herbert, although for me, I probably would go Mahomes, Lamar, Josh, Joe, Jalen Hurts, Matt Stafford, Dak. Then at that point, I probably would go Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, and I don't know. I probably would throw Justin Herbert in there, just off pure talent. But what he's been able to do on the football field for me is just where I probably would not necessarily throw him on that list. Hold on real quick. Okay, cool. Had to text my daughter's mother. But back to the show. And so I think that I probably with those definitely take Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Tua, and Brock Purdy off this list. And I could see an argument for why Jared Goff and Justin Herbert wouldn't be on this list. But I think the NFL really needs to reevaluate the way that they pay the quarterback position. At some point, we got to reset the market and put it back to where it's supposed to be. Sticking with the NFL, Shemar Stewart, rookie with the Cincinnati Bengals. I think he was like the 17th pick, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Has yet to sign his deal, his rookie deal. I think I'm not for sure about the specifics, but from what I'm hearing from him and his statement, Bengals are more concerned about winning arguments than winning games. Look at the contract situation with Trey Hendrickson, how long it took them to pay Jamar Chase, how long it took them to pay Higgins, not Wiggins, but Higgins, T. Higgins. I just think that when it starts to come down to it, you really have to be able to look at, if you want to win, what positions of need do you have and how do you go after it? They let Jesse Bates walk and go to the Falcons, and he's been balling out ever since. Stay hydrated, y'all. So I just think that a lot of things go into it where, from what it sounds like, there's certain language in his contract that he just doesn't like. And that's the part where he's trying to figure it out. I don't necessarily think it's a dollar amount. It could be. Initially, I did hear a report of like, I think what was it? Dallas Turner got $40 million at the position that he was drafted at, and the Bengals are trying to pay Shamar Moore like 37 or something like that, which is like what the person the year before that got paid. But the money's going up from a salary cap standpoint. So it's like, no. Don't correct the market on my behalf. Pay me what the market says I'm supposed to be making. And the market says last year person got 40. I want at least that, if not a little bit more than that. And so I don't blame him. I think at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you and your best interest. You putting your body on the line, but it is a little risky because I do want to at least point out he has all of the physical tools. If you know the name Shemar Stewart, you know that I talked about him when I talked about edge rushers. Has all the talent and the measurables in the world, but the productivity from a sack standpoint, just what didn't quite match. And so hopefully he comes in when he finally gets that deal, comes in and produces. But this is a risk. I have to at least say that. So Darius Garland tried to play through it, dealt with a lot of criticism, taking games off during the playoffs. But he had surgery on his toe and will be out 4 to 6 months. He's in a lot of trade talks right now. I've heard people expressing he would be a very welcomed addition to the Orlando Magic, which that one I can actually kind of see. Put him alongside Paolo, Franz, and the rest of the guys. I think that it would be a really good addition to that team. But I think that the injury, I give him props for trying to play through it, but that's the thing about the Cavaliers team that they currently have as they are currently constructed. They just always got to show me. Like, I think that they have all the potential to do things. I think that they have the talent to do things. You got Mobley, Garland, and Donovan Mitchell. Like with Jared Allen, they just got DeAndre Hunter from the Atlanta Hawks, and I thought that was going to be the thing that put them over the top in the end, but they ended up losing, and the rest is history. And so I'm just like, I feel for the kid. I do personally believe that him and Donovan Mitchell just can't work. They're too ball dominant, and unless one of them is able to come up off the rock, where both of them are more got to get in their bag in order to get a bucket. Where if there was at least one of them that kind of had like a, not to say like they needed a KD type game, but that type of game where they can catch and shoot, they can move without the ball, they can kind of turn into like a Steph. There's a reason why, like if you have someone like LeBron, you need someone that can get to it without too many dribbles or can do the catch and shoot. Kyrie showed that he was able to do the catch and shoot or the read and react and get to it. Dwayne Wade showed that he was able to do a little bit of a catch and shoot, if not catch and react, when playing off of a LeBron type of player. And that's where I think that Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland pretty much attack in the same space. So they kind of clash when it comes to the flow of offense. And that's why I do think that it makes sense for like a team like Orlando who is looking to get better and put someone, if Paolo can go off for 30 every night, I need someone else that can at least get close to that, if not 25 to 30 points on any given night. And that's why I think that he would be a good fit in Orlando. And Aaron Rodgers inked a deal finally ahead of the mandatory camp. I think 1 year deal, 10 million guaranteed, 13.65 for the year, which could get up to like 19, 20 based off incentives. And I think that is a good deal. I think it's a 1 year rental. You get to see what you can get out of Aaron Rodgers. He has like a 3-to-1, 2-to-1 ratio, not including the Achilles shortened season. So off of the last 3 of the last 4 years, he has about 90 touchdowns to like 27, 30 interceptions. So I think you're getting someone that can definitely get the football out quick, accurate. It's just how much can you protect him? And how good is that defense? Because the defense started out hot and it ended terribly last year. So injuries, age, too many veterans not mixed in with enough young players could be a bad thing, specifically when you're expecting them to play 17 games and a bunch of snaps. And Aaron Rodgers is already in his 40s. Like, at some point, he's got to retire. So I do think in the end, this could work. I can see the Steelers being like a playoff team, but I just don't see them being like a legit contender. Anything can happen when you get in the playoffs. And Aaron Rodgers could get on a hot streak and make it work when you're throwing to a DK Metcalf. But I just feel like he's too old and the defense is just wasn't able to stay healthy enough to really be able to make a difference. And so going into the fast break, I seen LeBron on his podcast with Steve Nash, and Luka was on there, and they were talking about kids and trainers, and keep doing it. I think it's weird. I thought about this a long time ago when I started seeing a bunch of kids, like every child has a trainer now. And I'm like, I knew some like real good hoopers when I was a kid. And I think if you need structure, I don't think that works for everybody, pretty much is what my point. When you need structure, I think when you're early on, you just need to learn the ins and outs, how your game works before you get a trainer. I think playing basketball in the neighborhood, even if it just depends on whatever sport that you do. I seen Cam Newton use the example of like for football, in order to better help his running ability, he joined track. And you would see people like basketball players playing volleyball, or football players playing basketball. And like you get an offensive lineman who's typically a bigger dude. Those are typically bigger guys that aren't really that quicker feet. Like the agility and quickness is not the strong suit. Playing basketball will help you move and get that muscle memory for those muscles. and better help your attributes in the end. And so I do think that kids nowadays, they're better suited just going out there and playing rather than putting in hours and upon hours with trainers. Wait till you're like in high school to do that if you're gonna do that. Like when you're in elementary school to middle school to maybe freshman, sophomore year, I don't really think that you need the trainer until you get to like junior, senior year, if your plans are to get to the next level, which college or a professional level. And so I do think that kids these days just go hoop and be active. You don't need a trainer, in my personal opinion. Let me know what you think. And I always see this thing where, like right now, we would say Luca, Shea, Jokic, um, Jason Tatum are and LeBron and KD. These are like superstars. Where I think that the conversation, there can never be too many superstars. I've always said the same thing. Like as black people, we see each other. Oh, what up, king? What up, queen? At some point, somebody got to be the peasants. Everybody can't be a king. We can't all have a bunch of superstars where every team has a superstar. At some point, there has to be a tier of there's superstars, there's stars, there's all stars, there's good players or role players and bench players. And at some point, everybody's going to find themselves in these categories. And those are the things for me where I just feel like Halliburton, regardless of what happens in the series, is a star at this point. I think him being able to be a key player on this team in the big moments that he has shown and solidified the fact that he is a star. Now, do I think that he's a superstar? No, not yet. Maybe later on in his career, but I just don't think that like Halliburton moves the needle in a way that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander moves the needle. And the reason why I bring them up particular, they're in the same series. And one is a superstar, in my opinion, and the other is not. And so I think that we have to watch out when we start talking about superstars and being able to pay attention to the whole aspect, what it is to be a superstar. You're selling shoes, merch. Kids want to be you. They want to play like you. They want to look like you. And I just don't see that from Halliburton quite yet. I think that with continued success, being a pass first point guard who also can get buckets is something that a lot of times, like Jason Kidd and Steve Nash, there's a bunch of kids trying to play like that at their peak. Where I think eventually we'll get there with Halliburton, we're just not there yet. And there was a situation that happened over the last couple of days, and then I seen DeMarcus Cousins lose his shit, and it made me just kind of put things in perspective. And I've had some situations happen to me within the last month or so. If you know me, I spoke with you about it, most likely, and I understand keeping our emotions in check can be tough. But as men, and specifically black men, there are situations that we can avoid by keeping our emotions in check. A lot of times, like for instance, there was some YouTubers that had an exchange. They seen each other. One was looking for the other. He finally found them. Now there's a man and his wife are dead right now. Now the person that did the shooting was a Hispanic man, and everybody pointed it out to me. I had already put it in the caption because I didn't put it in the actual video. I didn't say that part, but I did put it in the caption that not everybody in this incident is black. But specifically, just speaking of black men, because I am a black man and I'm a little older at that fact, learn to control your emotions. Never going to sit here and tell you as a person that dealt with anger issues, don't get angry. But learn how to navigate those emotions when you feel them, because something as small as a remark can lead to someone pulling up ready to shoot you. And you don't know how people are going to react. You don't know. You can't control how someone reacts, but you can't control what you do to antagonize the situation. And that for me is the part where I feel like as men, as we get older, you need to think about the consequences of certain things, because anything can happen. I can have a situation where someone does something to me, I feel away, we get into a fight. Now someone is either stabbed, beat to death, hits their head the wrong way, and now you're going to jail. Even can lose like right now myself, I'm a father. I get too angry, I get into a fight. Now that could be used against me in order to be able to see my child. And so those are the things that as men, as we get older, we need to understand and realize, like, how much our emotions can affect. Do not become victim to your emotions. Just learn to control them. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'm out of here, y'all. I appreciate you. Make sure you drink your water. Stay hydrated. It's hotter than Satan's toenails out here. But I got to get out. Get ready for work. Peace.